Hello, Dr. Lu. So the main reason that we really would love to share with all of you this presentation is to show the impact of the UNIFI consortium that have in our students and people that are part of the UNIFI consortium, but also the preparation of the next generation of engineers and scientists in the area of grid forming of inverters. So for me, it's a pleasure to present my students, and today they will be running the show. So thank you. So Jose, Angel, and Robert, this is your time.
Good afternoon, all, and thank you for joining us today and participating in this presentation. As previously mentioned, this presentation was used to showcase our design solution for the Solar District Cup competition for the class of 2023. Really quickly, our presenters today, only some of the team members that compose our design is myself, Jose Raúl Mol Rivera, rising senior electrical engineering student, currently focused in power, joined by Robert Marrero, a software undergraduate senior student at the University of Puerto Rico, Maya West, and Angel Sayas. Additional to us, our team was comprised of our faculty advisor, Dr. Eduardo Ortiz, and the rest of the faces that you can see here are all undergraduate engineering students from varying disciplines. Real quick, this was a very important topic, a very important point of our presentation, seeing as how although our team is composed of a large amount of members, all of us are undergraduate students, and most of us prior to this competition had little to no involvement in the energy sector, or much less renewable energy solar power systems. So I would like to start by recognizing the effort of all our 17 undergraduate engineering students, and of course, our advisor, Dr. Eduardo Ortiz. To give you a bit of background on the competition, the Solar District Cup is a collegiate design competition sponsored by the Department of Energy. And in it, the main challenge is a multidisciplinary design and proposal competition where we have to model the distributed energy system for a mixed campus or district for a group of buildings served by a common electrical distribution feeder. What defines this use case really varies from each year on the competition. For example, last year, our use case was to create a solar system design for the University of Texas at Dallas. And the other use cases were other universities as well. So our job as a team and presenters is to assume the role of a solar developer and create a plan and design for the conceptual working of the electrical system as a whole, be it the electrical equipment chosen with the justification and how it will work integrated on this client, the financing behind it, where we have to find the economic viability of this system we're designing. We may have the best system, the most efficient system, but if it's not economically viable, then it's not a real solution. Additional, we have the project development planning and the solar storage for the system. With the project development planning, we have to choose across the use case, permitted use land, and choose between what the use case wanted to attend and what we can design around it while maintaining the real aspect of this team. As I mentioned, each team competes in multiple divisions where each division has a different use case, and our deliverables, which consist of the presentation that we're seeing now and several reports, is judged by a panel of industry leaders and industry experts at the online competition. So the information packet for each use case usually consists of the consumption information for each district. Last year, it was around 15-minute intervals for a year of energy consumption. And they also specify some consumption for certain buildings, which later on we can see in end the presentation. For our use case, we had to design the system around our clients' objectives. And their objective, their goal was to design a solar system, a solar plus storage system around the use case boundaries that showcase the university's effort to lower their carbon footprint by consuming directly from their PV generation, lower their energy costs by offsetting their peak energy consumption during the day, which entailed the peak energy rate from the utility, increasing the university's green credentials by involving in our solution the ways that the university can showcase their efforts to reduce their footprint, offset their energy, and promote the use of renewable energy and renewable alternatives. Additional to this, we included in our objectives to increase the resiliency on the university campus. This is where we integrated the energy storage solution, where they gave us some requirement for two buildings in particular on campus, which they wanted a minimum of 1 hour of energy backup. And our approach to use smart switching across the university's distribution system to target which buildings we want to energize depending on the need. Additional to this, the university showed us an interest to electrify their campus transportation fleet. So the equipment, the transportation vehicles for the faculty and maintenance crews, they will be turning towards electric vehicles. So we included in our design the creation of an infrastructure to charge said electric vehicles. The additional objective was also to improve the energy equity around campus, since the university is a hotspot for community interaction and being surrounded by residential properties around the campus. This was also a very big objective of us. Now, if we move on to the PV generation, excuse me. Now, if we move on to the PV generation, on the right, we have a picture of the UT Dallas campus with the layout of our design highlighted. The design consists of 5 individual PV systems spread throughout the campus, including battery storage and EV charging stations near the ground mount and carport systems. We chose each of these buildings based on their location within the campus distribution network to mitigate the impact of all this additional energy that is going to that local grid. As I mentioned on the picture on the upper right corner, that is the plot of land that we chose for ground mount system. The purple circle is 2 of the parking lots in the university, which according to their location within the distribution grid, we saw optimal to use for carport. And the orange highlighted buildings are our 3 rooftop solar systems. Here we can see a bit more detail about the solar sizing for our system. The reason that you might be seeing here, we have 2 main types of system, the ones with grid following inverters and the ones with grid forming inverters. With the aggregate PV sizing being around 2.5 megawatts, from this, about a quarter of the energy production capacity comes from our rooftop systems using grid following inverters, and the rest of the system uses grid forming inverters. This ratio allowed us to benefit from the use of grid forming inverters while still having the flexibility to include the grid following. While presenting this solution, we had the question arise, why using this kind of these several types of inverters within the same system? To this, we used the distributed approach, having these rooftop solar systems closer to their consumption. So each one of these rooftop systems, said building would be consuming from that PV generation. And we did that to maximize, reduce the efficiency maximize efficiency, reduce the losses for energy throughout the distribution grid by having their production very near the consumption. And this also allowed us to spread out the PV generation impact on the grid, as this allowed us to reduce the required cost for any infrastructure upgrades for what would be the distribution grid. From here, we can see higher up close detail of each system. The images are CAD or are Aurora solar models, but for which we use to simulate the energy production and excuse me, to simulate the energy production and the general layout for each system. Here we have the specifics for the this building, where each rooftop system is wired in the following manner. We use the Silfab 500-watt solar panels, solar PV modules equipped with rapid shutdown, and included the use of the SMA tri-power Core 1 inverters. Here, interconnected with the assistant of an ATS, and then towards the main distribution panel for said building. Looking closer onto the sciences building, here we have around 200 kilowatts of generation, where we were able to offset the total consumption, yearly consumption of this building, and produce some excess energy, which would be consumed by the surrounding buildings. In total, this would have around 400 solar panels and 4 inverters. In a similar fashion, here we have the science learning building, which would be the third and last of our rooftop systems, which consisted of a 112 kilowatt system, similar to the one previously mentioned. And here is the Green Age Seasoning Hall with another system, also around 400 kilowatts. And this one in particular had a lower energy offset, which, although it did not cover the entirety of this building's consumption, the other larger systems, such as the ground mount and carport system, would be able to attend these energy needs. And now moving on to the ground mounted carport system, here is where we decided to use the grid forming inverters in a DC coupled DC coupled configuration, such that we would have the PV system connected directly into the charge controller. From there, it would have the option to either recharge the battery system, the battery energy storage system, or go through the grid forming inverter and export to meet the building demands. This interconnection diagram uh, allows us to see how these grid forming inverters will be operating in parallel. So each of these inverters has a capacity of around 40 kilowatts. However, because of their interconnection with each other, interoperation, they employ the droop control operation alternative, where one would serve as the master and make the decisions, while the other parallel inverters would support said decisions. Moving on to the carport, we can see the system specifics of the carport, which is the largest of the individual systems. Here, using the grid forming inverters would allow the inverters to establish the reference frequency for the grid following inverters to operate in the case of a blackout. Now, the reason why we chose such a large carport system for the university was that, apart from ground mount, which takes up a lot of space. This is one of the what we consider better options for the university to showcase their green efforts. Every time an employee, a student, or an invited person go to the university, they will see this directly once they arrive to the university. So using this large system, and because of our advantage in where this parking lot is located relative to the distribution grid, we saw it beneficial to use this same inverter. And moving on to the ground mount system, here we try to showcase the university spirit by configuring the solar PV modules to uh, demonstrate the university's abbreviation. Here we see the second largest system for around almost 700 kilowatts of PV generation that also showcases the abbreviation. So adding an additional layer to that, the green initiatives of the university. The ground mount system um, really is the basis or the largest part of the system, where near this solar installation, we would also have the operating trailers for the inverters and energy storage systems. So near this system as well is where we would have the common coupling point where the university interconnects with the utility. And one very big challenge we face with the design was that the university had a limitation where they could not be allowed to export energy, so no net metering. And the alternative we saw to creating this system while maintaining financial viability was to uh, size our system around the noon minimum load in such a manner that we would guarantee that at no point would we have an excess of energy production relative to the campus energy consumption. Now, having this system based right next to the interconnection with the utility, we also employed a use of protection measures to ensure that no energy exploitation will take place during the operation of the system. The additional layer that we use for the system consideration, we propose to include the EV chargers around the carport and ground mount system using level 2 and level 3 chargers. The main difference between these chargers is the power consumption and the time required to charge the electric vehicles. So we use this configuration of level 2 and level 3 chargers to really give more options to the university as to how to charge their electric vehicles. To give you an idea, the level 2 chargers would need around 10 to 12 hours, depending on the model, to charge a basic electric vehicle from 0 to 80%, whereas the level 3 could take from 1 to 3 hours. So with this variable type of electric charger, the university with their electric fleet, they have several options to charge their vehicles. So with a total of 41 charging stations, we would have the ability to charge 62 electric vehicles at any given moment, which would surpass the 50 vehicle uh, requirement that the university had. And this is also by we suggested that these electric vehicle chargers were also open to the public use. And with this same electric vehicle chargers, we also showcase the energy's initiatives to promote the use of electric vehicles where the uh, the the energy offset could be maximized with cost-effective renewable energy generation. Now moving on to the battery system, we chose to use the Simplify high voltage battery because of their really versatile configuration with the inverters. And from the use case requirements, they asked us to energize at least two specific buildings, which appear on screen, the SUP building and the CEP building, which were used for heating and cooling on the university. So they had a lot of energy consumption. With set peak hours, peak consumptions uh, available on screens, we sized the energy storage system to be able to handle around an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, depending on the configuration. And this limited energy storage system was really determined by the university's main goal. Their main goal was to have a cost-effective system and to maximize their energy offset. So maximize how much energy they save themselves by consuming from their PV production instead of consuming from the peak utility rate. With this battery configuration, we will be using 40-foot containers surrounding the ground mount system, which is also beneficial from the interconnection standing point or point of view. The final main consideration, as I mentioned previously, was the distribution. So this campus university, this grid, this network, wasn't designed with the consideration of distributed energy resources. So taking this into account, we used the open DSS model provided by the competition with the use case design and analyze that distribution network to be able to spread our production across the university distribution network. With two main branches, one being from the uppermost side of the campus, including the ground mount and carport systems, and the second branch, including the other buildings. When corroborating the generation capacity of these individual systems on the rooftops and with the ground mount systems, we saw with the model that they had no issue conforming to the physical restraints of the distribution system and allowed us to continue the system development without having to incur any additional infrastructure improvements apart from the necessary for the system interconnection. Now we'll pass on to the project development part of the proposal.
Yes, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Roberto Marrero. I'm a software engineering undergrad, and I will be presenting the development part of a project. The image shown is a map of the surrounding UT Dallas campus and the affected areas within. The colored in blue parking lots A and B, where carports will be installed with the EV chargers, as mentioned previously. In red, pink, and purple are the three buildings on which roof-mounted solar panels will be installed. And finally, on the right in the empty field, an array of ground-mounted panels will be installed. As for the zoning and the permits we have to take out, the district in which the project will be undertaken is classified as an R2000M, a residential district, and a specific regulations code, and specific regulations and codes apply to it. Some of the more important ones being the electrical, fencing, and permit-related stuff. The primary permits that must be acquired are the interconnection permit from Encore, which manages the interconnection over in Texas, the carport construction permit, and the roof replacement permits from the city of Richardson, which is the actual district where the university is located at, for the EV chargers and roof-mounted panels respectively as well. We also divided this project into a couple of timelines. The main timelines are the initiation, construction, and the interconnection phases. The initiation phase is around 24 weeks long. It consists of two permitting phases, a general mobilization phase, and an equipment procurement phase that persists through the entire length of the project. The second phase of the project would be through the actual construction phase, which consists of the carports, the rooftops, and the ground mount panel construction phases. This lasts around 13 weeks. And finally, we have the actual interconnection phase, which is the final permitting phase, and the interconnection, which lasts for around 22 weeks. This consists of the interconnection and testing for the non-exporting distribution generation system. So we have an estimate. Here we have a table of the estimate work hours with a total construction of 13, 28 workers, and a couple of other information. This is everything estimated for the construction of the phase. And now I can leave it with Angel for the financial analysis.
Hello, my name is Angel Sayas. First, I would like to apologize. I've been trying to turn on my camera and the video, but it wouldn't let me. But we'll continue here with the presentation with our financial analysis. For the financial analysis, the team used an Excel spreadsheet and the latest enroll benchmarks provided by the competition to estimate metrics such as the total cost, annual savings, internal rate of return, and net present value. The project's NPV came to the total of $179,581, indicating that the project is viable with a return rate of 6.56%. The graph on screen shows the incremental growth of saving year by year. These calculations validate not only the value of the investment, but also its potential to produce significant return throughout the project duration. The final part of our project will include energy equity and community engagements. Energy burden is defined as the percentage of the income that goes toward energy cost, which can include electricity, home heating, and transportation. Knowing this, we can relate to the Justice Voting Initiative, which was approved by President Joe Biden during his first week in office and stated that 30% of all benefit of certain federal investment flow to disadvantaged communities. Some priorities of this initiative include a decrease in energy burden in the DACs, an increase in equivalence in clean energy and technologies, access in disadvantaged communities, and increase in energy resilience. Using a screening platform, we were able to locate the DACs that will be able to affected by our project around the University of Texas at Dallas. As we can see in the picture on the screen, the system to be installed applied grid-forming inverters technology, which supports energy resilience. By implementing the photovoltaic system, we will support energy equity through the distribution of all benefits, including jobs, climate burden, and energy resilience. Concerning educating the community, we plan to implement semestral photovoltaic-related workshop for the students and people who want to know more information on the topic. Additionally, we plan on getting on local news to spread the project accomplishment to people around the university. For those who wish to know more information on the project, we have developed a web page containing further information on each division of the project, as you can see with the picture on screen. Lastly, we plan to set up informational bulletin board on all affected buildings promoting the project. Here you can see the design of the board, and at the down right corner, this will include the QR code that if you can scan it, you will be led to the previously shown project webpage. Now I lift up my teammate, Robert, with the impact of transporting burden.
In the map shown on screen, UTD campus is once again pictured with some mapped out routes corresponding to several things. In purple, we have the disadvantaged communities as defined by the Justice 40 initiative. In white, the existing route for the UTD public transportation bus, the Comet Cruiser, and around campus and the surrounding communities. In red, the route for the cruiser inside campus, and in yellow, the new route we propose to be added that passes through the new carports. These are also designated parking spaces for SIP cars, some of which are electric and will benefit from set chargers. Here you can see the actual transportation map a bit better. Now we'll leave it again to my teammates.
Lastly, we'll be discussing the effects of the ERCOT interconnection has on Texas. A grid interconnection ties a network of local grids together at a synchronized frequency. This allows the exchange of energy from local grids with the surplus power to those that experience a higher demand than the quantity they can produce. In the United States, there are three interconnections: Western, Eastern, and ERCOT interconnections. In the picture, we can clearly distinguish how ERCOT is noticeably much smaller than the other interconnections, leaving the state associated with it all the disadvantages over the states in the Western and Eastern interconnection. In 2021, Texas faced a big snowstorm that froze the transmission lines, leaving 4.5 million customers without power during the record-breaking temperatures. Texas couldn't borrow power from nearby states due to its grid limits. Another disaster that left approximately 1.67 million customers without power was Hurricane Harvey, which passed as a Category 4 hurricane through Texas in 2017. Being from Puerto Rico, we face a similar phenomenon with Hurricane Maria causing blackout for nearly 1 year. Unprecedented natural disaster will continue happening as time passes. That being said, we propose to set the university as an official refuge site for the community. Texas has been through natural disasters like snowstorm and major hurricanes, and we want to mitigate the possibilities of another major power outage. Our first-hand experience have given us a special insight into the importance of being prepared for emergency. Understanding this can truly make difference between life and death and can significantly impact the well-being of our community.
So up until there would be the actual presentation used for the competition, where now we will continue on to what would be the outcome of said competition. As mentioned previously, as part of the competition, we placed first place in the UT Dallas use case, and additional to that, we also won the pitch championship competition, where the teams that place first place in each of their use case later go head to head on the pitch competition, where the winner of winners is selected. From this experience, there are many outcomes that are both direct and indirect. Directly from our involvement in this is the industry insights, where as part of the competition, we're allowed to use the technology and software that is used on the field today. Like, for example, Aurora Solar, which was a very big tool for us in the modeling and representation of what we envisioned the design to be. Additional to Aurora, we also had available Reopt, which is a free-to-use website, a software for PV and battery energy storage sizing calculations. And as mentioned, the open DSS models for distribution grids or networks. Additional to this, the one of the main outcomes of the competition was our technical and professional development. As I mentioned from the beginning of the presentation, our team is comprised of only undergraduate engineering students. So this competition became an opportunity for us to showcase our involvement in this topic, our interest, and how we can work and how we can contribute to finding a solution to the modern day energy crisis, right? So here on the right, we can see several recognitions of the team where we can see it even reached the local newspaper. On the bottom, we have the graphic from the said competition. Top right, we have a public figure, a very renowned um, newscaster, Ala Monzon, which also congratulated us and kind of restated the importance of this type of involvement from students participating in a competition where it allows us to contribute to the industry while we learn and prepare ourselves for the professional camp. Additional to this, we also see the picture with on the upper left with the university's chancellor and the majority of the team. With this result, the winning of the competition, it would place our team, the Minds to Create UPRN team, on its third major accomplishment within this competition, where in the previous years, in the class of 2020, the Minds to Create team won first place in their use case, and in the class of 2021, they won the third place in their use case. Moving on to why this type of competition this type of initiative is important, it will be onto the student impact. This is the way that we can educate ourselves on the industry standards, the pathways and opportunities. As I briefly mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, prior to this experience, most of us had no experience with solar renewable energy design or modeling implementation. And at the end of this competition, the insight we gained from developing our proposal, from researching how do you value the systems, what is their purpose, their impact in a community, this really is what motivated us on the participation of this extracurricular activity, which being a student by itself is no easy feat. So adding this onto your plate as a student is a pretty big task. Additional to this, being able to have feedback on your work and kind of reinforce that confidence in your uh, cognitive skills and your ability to create and contribute to this industry is something that we think is we value very greatly from this competition. And on a more personal note, as was part of our pitch, being from Puerto Rico, this is a very important topic to us. We know what it's like to have no energy after Maria in some communities, even reaching a whole year without energy access. So this gave us, as students who lived through the hurricane, an opportunity to learn about what are the limitations and how us soon to be professionals can contribute to this and participate in the improvement of our own local grid, for example. From this, it would stem to our kind of most recent participation of, or most recent kind of byproduct of participation of the competition. Some of our team members had the amazing opportunity to participate in at the RE Plus conference, a multi-day conference, just 2 weeks ago from September 9th to September 12th, if I'm not mistaken, where we got to see participate in several conferences, including one where even the Dr. Ben Kropowski was presenting, and being able to go table through table and through exhibition, seeing firsthand the sheer amount of technology and sheer amount of options we have available to create solutions to what will be our energy needs, and really being able to participate at this conference, couple thousand miles away from Puerto Rico, over at California. It's something so surreal to us, and we to this day, looking at the pictures, still kind of don't really believe it. It seems like a dream. So being able to participate on this was great. Gave us a lot of insight onto what alternatives are available and creative at a spark into what we might be able to do on the coming years of this competition as well. So here, kind of closing off the presentation with 10 minutes left, we have a clip of the final announcement of the winning team we would like to share it with you. And here we go.
The winner is the University of Puerto Rico.
So for my reaction, you might be able to see a bit of what I'm speaking about, the sheer importance to us, looking at teams that had graduate students or that had been in previous years as well. It was very intimidating, but all those late nights, all that effort, all that research culminated at this point where still watching this clip of the announcement gives me chills to this day. So with that, we will be concluding our presentation. And we would like to thank everyone that participated here and open the space for any questions. Any questions?
Yep.